Today we continue with the topic on coastal littoral processes. Coastal erosion can be attributed to natural or man-made causes. Natural causes include tides, monsoon, storm, or tsunami, whereby the erosion can happen gradually over a long-term period, or it can also happen at an accelerated rate over a short-term extreme event. Man-made causes include development in the coastal littoral zone, removal of mangroves which can effectively trap coastal sediment, sand mining close to the shore which can affect the dynamic equilibrium of the coastal sediment budget, and even upland development such as dam or sand mining, which again can affect the sediment budget due to reduced supply to the coastal region. As a result of that, the hydraulic of the coastal processes is able to carry more sediment and will begin to erode the coastline. As mentioned earlier, beach erosion is governed by extreme events. In most cases, the extent of storm erosion will depend on the shoreline profile before the storm, depends on the particular storm characteristic, which includes tidal stage, storm surge and duration, wave conditions, as well as the available protection such as vegetation or shore stabilizing structure. The extent of damage usually is very difficult to estimate correctly, and there is no established procedure. So engineers will have to rely only on published data in similar areas near the vicinity. This is very different from long-term erosion, which happens gradually, whereby long-term monitoring will provide engineers with data to analyze the trend and also to estimate and predict the amount of soil loss over a given time period. In Malaysia, we classify coastal erosion into three main categories. Category 1 refers to shorelines currently in a state of erosion and where shore-based facilities or infrastructure are in immediate danger of collapse or damage. So category 1 shoreline will have to be given the top priority when it comes to coastal protection work. Category 2 refers to shoreline which is eroding at a rate whereby public property and agricultural land of value will become threatened within 5 to 10 years unless remedial action is taken. So in this case, category 2 will take a lower priority, but still appropriate measures will have to be taken to mitigate the long-term impact. Category 3 refers to undeveloped shoreline which experience erosion but with no consequent or minor consequent on economic loss. In this case, the shoreline is experiencing soil loss, but since there's no obvious impact, we may not be taking any specific action to address the particular segment of the coastline. This figure here shows example of a published report on the status of coastal erosion in Malaysia. we have the data for every state and the length of coastline in each state. For each of the category 1, 2, and 3, we have the length of coastline, which is under category 1, category 2, and category 3, and also the total length. And so if we look at the total length of coastline, which is under erosion, compared to the total length of coastline in that particular state, then we get the percentage of the coastline which is under erosion. Here we can see that out of the 4,800 kilometers of coastline in Malaysia, about 30% is under erosion. States which experience amongst the highest percentage are Perlis, Selangor, Kelantan. You notice that the table also provides the unit of coastline which is under erosion. Recall that the coastal management unit is a segment of the coastline which is treated as one unit for the ease of management purposes. And usually they are demarcated based on the shoreline characteristic, such as between headlands. So in this case, the number of coastal unit is not directly related to the length of shoreline which is under erosion. So for example, in Perlis, there are 3 coastal units with category 1 erosion, 1 coastal unit with category 2 erosion, and 4 units in category 3 erosion. Altogether, there are 8 coastal units which is under erosion, and overall there are altogether 223 coastal units which is under erosion. Typically, when coastal protection work is approved, it will be approved according to the coastal unit. So for example, we may want to give priority to this 93 coastal unit with category 1 erosion. Strategy to overcome coastal erosion can be classified into curative type and preventive type. Of course, curative type means actions taken in order to address a particular segment of coastline which is already undergoing critical or severe erosion. Curative measures is typically expensive and costly because the problem has already become serious. So a preferred approach to overcoming erosion will be preventive measures, such as establish administrative measures and monitoring using on-site instrumentations in order to be able to take the necessary action and precaution at a very early stage of signs of coastal erosion. Proper scrutiny of proposed development along the shoreline is another preventive measures, so that the implications, the impact of a coastal development is thoroughly investigated and studied to make sure that it doesn't contribute to eventual coastal erosion problem, whether to the local area or to the up coast or the down coast area. What DNE is doing other than this is to conduct integrated shoreline management plan studies so that we are able to identify the problems at different segments of the shoreline and also be able to identify the suitable area for development for long-term planning purposes.